In this video, I would like to share a little bit about Aries, the sign Aries. So Aries is the very first zodiac sign. It's a fire sign. It starts something. It has a very powerful initiative energy to it. So whoever that has strong Aries, whether it's a sun, moon, or a rising sign, these people are initiative and passionate. However, not everyone is going to be super hyper active though. If your sun is in Aries, you would probably not feel that you are an Aries until you reach the age of 30 or something, because that's when sun energy starts activating. So yeah, so Aries is all about being initiative, passionate, and very fiery. It has a hunter's mind to it. It just goes after what it wants. It's one of the most straightforward, direct, and simplistic signs. So if your Mercury is in Aries, then Mercury represents your communication style. So you would speak pretty straightforward. You would not make things complicated in words. You would prefer having simple, straightforward communication. And Mercury also rules mind, thinking, so your thinking process could be pretty fast and you can speak faster. But of course you need to see your chart holistically, because if Mercury is aspected by Saturn, or if your third house has a challenging elements, you wouldn't speak super fast. And Aries is a cardinal sign. Cardinal sign means a sign that changes the seasons of the planets. So when Sun enters into Aries, this is when spring begins in Northern Hemisphere and fall in Southern Hemisphere. Aries represents your head, your eyes particularly. If your Venus is in Aries, you would prefer putting some accents on your head by wearing a hat, cap, or wearing some glasses, or earrings, or you may be into hairstyling in some way, shape, or form. And if your rising sign is Aries, your head may be somewhat prominent in terms of your physical appearance. And you would be the physical embodiment of Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of action, activity, vitality. So these people are very athletic, physically active. They love moving their bodies, and they could be good dancers or good sportsmen, sportswomen. There are so many different things ruled by Aries. In color, Aries represents red. So again, if your rising sign is Aries, your skin tone would be a little bit reddish. In terms of personality, you may be a bit hot-tempered. You may react really quick, and you would be very good at responding. And you would be very responsive. If Aries is related to your career or work environment, you would have a career that requires fast responses. Aries represents your head and brain. So for those of you who have strong Aries or Mars in Aries or Sun in Aries, these people could be a really good strategist or brainstormers. You may have a lot of inspiration ideas, and you can also have a instinctual, like animalistic instincts in regards to a lot of different things. And passion is the key word. Your enthusiasm, action. These people speak through actions. Yeah, so I kind of rambled a lot, but this is what I mentioned in the first chapter, in the first house of rising sign Aries. Of course, it's more elaborated in detail, and it not only has information about the first house, but all the 12 houses. So, for example, the second house represents your personal financing. It rules anything that has to do with value, and money is a physically valuable things, possessions, and as well as your self-worth. And second house, according to ancient astrology, represents the physical material aspects of your home and family. So if you have Aries as a rising sign, your second house is Taurus. And following the whole sign system, of course, if you have a house cusp of the second house in Aries or Gemini, then you can look into that definition as well. But I personally found that whole sign system works better. So Taurus in the second house, this means that you would take Taurus approach when it comes to managing your resources, including your money, time, energy, and all types of resources. And Taurus is basically very stable, material, predictable. It's an earth sign. So those who have strong Aries tends to be good at managing money in general. Of course, there's an exception. Let's say if you have Saturn or Uranus or nodes in the second house, things are going to play out differently. This is a general description. So, yeah, and the second house also represents what you buy, both mentally and physically. And Taurus represents food and anything that is material. And these people genuinely appreciate the value of the physical things, especially if their Venus, which is a ruling planet of Taurus, is strong. Then they would be really good at money and they would have very high standard of aesthetic, because Venus represents arts, beauty, music, and makeup. Yeah, so these people could be good at those areas and possibly be able to make money off of it. And the second house also represents how you invest resources. Aries rising people would prefer investing money in a secure environment, something that is predictable, such as making deposit into the bank on a regular basis. And Taurus is basically accumulative. That is the core essence of Taurus. Taurus keeps storing. So unless you have Uranus or some radical elements in the second house or aspecting Venus or any other planets in the second house, if you have, you would tend to grow your resources on a steady pace in a predictable manner, and you're gonna stick to it because Taurus is a fixed sign. It doesn't change. It doesn't like change. It wants to keep the status quo, and it keeps building and building and building. So this would be how Aries rising people would manage resources. However, this is not the only money house. 11th house represents how you make money, how you generate income. Second house is about the management aspects, maintenance. 11th house represents income, how you make money, how you make value from seemingly nothing. Yeah. So there are whole different dynamics are going on, very interesting, and it's going to be fun to read. If this is something you're interested in, you can check out my new book, Stellar Wisdom of Rising Signs, Aries, and right now I am in the process of finalizing the design, whether I want to publish 12 different parts of the book separately or group them by 3 or 4 signs or 6 signs. It's something I need to figure out. And for a limited time, if you're interested in reading my book for the exchange of feedback, there's a link below in description. Fill out the form and let's get connected. Because this is my very first book, I would very appreciate if you give me genuine feedback about this book. Yeah, so I hope you found it helpful. If you're Aries rising, sun or moon sign, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.